Married at First Sight Season 12, Where Are They Now? Season 12 was filmed in Atlanta. It featured Brianna and Vincent, Clara and Ryan, Virginia and Eric, Haley and Jacob, and who can forget Paige and Chris. This cast has had a lot of drama after the season ended. Overall, I believe they may be the most vocal cast so far because they have been very outspoken. I've covered a lot of the shenanigans that happened after their season ended on my channel. There were verbal fights, jaw dropping allegations, insightful revelations, and straight up drama that happened after the cameras went away. This video could easily be over 2 hours if I tried to cover it all. But instead, I'll give you the cliff notes, and as I go along, I'll share some thumbnails of the videos I created that explain a particular situation in detail so you can hop over to that video if you want to know more. Hello, I'm Tamara, and this is Tamara Lynette Tells. First of all, this show may not have been very successful with helping this cast find a spouse, but it appears to have built some potential lifelong friendships. All of the husbands appear to be in contact and still friends. Well, with the exception of one, Chris. They're pictured here after a hangout. Haley, Brianna, and Paige got together and spoke at a women's empowerment conference called The Journey of Self. Each of them addressed the attendees and shared their personal experiences on this topic. And the closest friendship of them all, Virginia and Clara. These two are now besties. They seem to spend a lot of time together and love each other's company. I can't wait to tell you what they did on a dating app. Let's get into where this cast is now. Haley and Jacob. Unfortunately, Jacob, who loved the 80s, married Haley, who didn't exist until the 90s, and she wanted nothing to do with the 80s, or Jacob for that matter. They never seemed to even get to a point of being able to build a friendship, let alone a marriage. And it didn't help that Haley put Jacob on blast for having bad sex with her during their honeymoon, leading us to believe Jacob was at fault. And Virginia claims he begged her for sex. However, long after the season ended, Jacob finally spoke out about that night on his YouTube channel. Here's a little taste of what he had to say.
We did have sex once. That night, I did not want to have sex. I told her this. And she initiated the sex. To quote unquote, I think later just wanted to get it over with. She actually said that at one point to me later. I was like, okay. So yeah, it was bad, and I didn't like it either, by the way. And I think it's trashy to like talk about it the way she did, and then of course it's trashy Virginia to come on my live stream talking about it and making comments about specific things that she has no idea on. And neither does Haley, by the way, because she was probably so drunk she don't even remember anything. And she was actually very drunk. This is why I said I didn't want to have any sex, because we were both drunk. She was really drunk.
So he's put a little different spin on what happened that night. I'll leave it to you to decide who's telling the truth. Jacob likes to create videos to discuss his points of views on various topics. Because of some of his political views, he's been labeled a conservative, but he claims he's more of a libertarian. He basically supports the party that believes in less government intervention, he says. Since the show, his ability to work from home gave him the freedom to relocate. So he moved to Ohio. Before he moved into his new place, he gave an empty house tour. Early in 2023, Jacob had a health scare. At first, the doctors didn't have a clear answer as to what was going on with him, but they seem to have found a diagnosis that he feels is the correct one. He taped a video to discuss it. Here's a little snippet of how he describes his problem.
So what they think happened was I had inflammation of the occipital nerve, I believe it's called.
I hope the doctors are able to resolve your issues soon, Jacob. Since his season was released on Netflix, renewed interest has crept up on our Reddit, of all places. Someone posted a thread and called it "Jacob is weird as fudge," and I don't mean fudge. So he decided to create a video to address some of their comments.
He's insecure and quick to jump to conclusions. The craziness of having a boyfriend. So, okay, that's number one. I'm going to address this. I did not accuse her of having a boyfriend out of the blue, by the way. Now, the reason I said this, and this did not make the show, So what had actually happened is right after the table scene where Chris threw his little, hissy fit at Virginia. After that scene, we're gathering ourselves in the hallway or whatever and chit-chatting, and they were trying to explain the whole girls' night thing, which backfired tremendously. Because Claire then actually said, well, yeah, you remember the last time we had a girls' night, which was the night they all went out, I guess, for their bachelorette party or whatever that was. Claire said, you ended up with somebody getting all cozy with somebody at 2-3 in the morning. And then, and before that, she had told me that, she had been with somebody recently. And she's acting funny, right? All within the first few days. Of course, everybody assumes it's my fault. And she stormed off. She did not want to discuss it. She did not want to say a word about it. So she storms off. I go back up to the room. She's up in the room. I was like, so are we going to talk about this or what? And she's like, no. The problem became where she didn't want to say anything about this interaction with her potentially sleeping with this guy, a week or two before we had gotten married. So then I looked there. I said, well, are you seeing anybody else? Like, that's a pretty natural reaction to receiving that information, having somebody act a certain way. And then she gave me the Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
In most cases, it's best for the cast members to ignore Reddit. As far as Jacob's love life, he doesn't appear to be in a relationship, but I'm not sure he would make it public if he was. He loves posting videos and pictures of his corgis, though, and appears to be enjoying life after Married at First Sight. Now, Haley is a true jet setter. Since the show, she's traveled to Spain, Dublin, where she and her bestie got matching tattoos, Turkey, Bali, Isla Holbax in Mexico, Portugal, Colombia, Tulum, and Singapore, just to name a few. Now, in between all of her travels, somehow she managed to launch a rug business. In this post, she talks about what inspired her to start her business. My idea for Woven started when I was renovating my kitchen. You know how it goes, picking colors, choosing the appliances, and finding the right rug to go in front of the stove. While searching for my perfect rug, I stumbled across a woman who posted beautiful vintage rugs on Instagram. Of course, I slid into her DMs, and next thing you know, I am hand selecting these beautiful vintage rugs from Turkey to share with you all. So yeah, she's a rug salesman now. Overall, her Instagram feed is filled with pictures of her travels, hanging out with her friends, and holding babies. She hasn't mentioned being in a relationship, but she definitely appears to be enjoying life. Brianna and Vincent. Brianna and Vincent have turned out to be a true Married at First Sight success story. They have settled into married life and moved into a house together. Around their 1-year anniversary, Vincent surprised Brianna by getting down on one knee and reaffirmed their commitment to each other. But this time, instead of sealing the deal with cheesecake like he did on Decision Day, he surprised her with a new wedding ring. Okay, I see you, Vincent. Good job. They started a YouTube channel together and have posted a handful of videos, including this vacation to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, where Vincent is from. They've also traveled to New Orleans and spent time with fan favorite alumni, Amani and Woody. And then they visited him again to attend Amani's baby shower and snapped this group photo that also included Karen and Miles. Vincent no longer sells cars for Mercedes. He's a realtor now. However, their biggest news of all is when they announced that Brianna was pregnant. Then on January 3rd, 2023, Brianna gave birth to their beautiful baby girl, Aribella Morales. Now that she's a mommy, Brianna has been working on navigating motherhood with self-care. She posted this video on Instagram.
If Bella's in a good mood, then we're smooth sailing.
Morning. Good morning, sweet pea.
She chose violence.
Oh, so too soon. Hey.
What Brianna clearly needs is meal delivery from HelloFresh. Am I right or am I right? Honey, it is cold outside. She can spare herself and Bella from going out into the freezing cold and let HelloFresh bring her food all the way to her doorstep. No contour or lip gloss needed. I know Vincent enjoys food that reminds him of where he's from. They have 40 different recipes every week. They are bound to have multiple recipes he'll like. All the ingredients they need are included so they can hop in the kitchen together to cook them up real fast while Bella bops around in her little bouncy. HelloFresh is perfect for folks who are busy because you don't have to think about meal planning and finding new recipes. And they always have some flavor tricks up their sleeves and got me over here feeling like a chef who has some serious culinary skills. These meals always come out yummy. If you want to try HelloFresh, I have a huge discount code for you. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code 60TAMARA for 60% off plus free shipping. I highly recommend that you try them. So go ahead and go over to HelloFresh.com and use code 60TAMARA for 60% off plus free shipping. That's right, tell them I sent you. So Brianna and Vincent seem to have found what they're looking for in each other. Bravo and congratulations. Eric and Virginia. These two never felt like a good match, but they somehow decided to stay married on decision day. Virginia moved into Eric's place, but their marriage grew more toxic and then they eventually divorced. Since the breakup, Virginia has accused Eric of being a narcissist in her Instagram posts and her TikToks. Virginia is very active on social media. She's gotten into a fight with Jacob over Haley while he went live on his own Instagram channel. This is where she accused him of begging Haley for sex, like I mentioned earlier. I covered this story in detail in this video. She also got into it with Eric's mom on Instagram. So Virginia posted a TikTok about Eric and getting over the hump of missing her ex. She also posted it on her Instagram stories, which is where Eric's mom responded to it. Here's a little peek at the TikTok.
There is truly no better way to get over the hump of missing your ex than attempting to go have lunch with them, ending in you getting out of the car in the middle of the street to walk and then get an Uber home. Simply because you expressed that they do have privilege and would make it farther in life for acknowledging their privilege.
So in response to this, Eric's mom commented, "Grow up, Virginia." Virginia responded, "Hey, Donna, it's not normal to still buy groceries for and clean the condo for your 35-year-old son, but I need to grow up. When you realize you forgot to block the ex-mother-in-law. Ha 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 ha. Oh, the text I could share that this one has sent over the months. Oh, Virginia." So she shared this photo. Remember when she said she wanted to continue to sleep on her male friend's couch if she partied too much and wasn't able to drive home safely? Well, who could forget that, right? Anyway, this is one of the guys whose couch she slept on. As the story goes, her female friend in this picture lived out of state but visited Virginia quite a bit while she was taping the show. During one of her trips to Atlanta, she met the couch guy and yada yada yada, bada boom, bada bang. Virginia's two friends are now engaged. As for the rest of her life, since she's so active on TikTok, I'll let her tell you in her own words how she's doing and what she's been up to.
I have always hated dating apps even before my marriage. I was not a big dating app person, like whatever. But I'm on this one and was gonna go on my first date from it last night. I just don't feel like I've been able to be like my authentic self online. Okay, so I got Botox for the first time two and a half weeks ago. And he said it was disgusting, that he didn't understand it, that he was embarrassed. Another type of grief you experience is just the loss of someone out of your life. Bro, you're like a grown-ass dude and you've commented on my stuff like 10 times over the last week, which means you're coming back to check in on it again and comment again.
So in other words, Virginia's doing her thing, living out loud, and clearly some days are better than the other. As for her dating life, well, let's just say it's complicated. She uses this TikTok to explain her journey. So she's officially pansexual and currently, well, based on her TikToks, she's single and seeking a girlfriend. As for Eric, for a while it appeared as though the majority of his posts were flight related videos. I mean, they're beautiful, but for nosy folks like me, they didn't shed any insight on what was going on with him. Like, is he happy, dating, or still recovering from his married at first sight ordeal? Well, finally, a Redditor spotted Eric's dating app profile on Bumble. He likes concerts, documentaries, exploring new cities, dogs, and being family oriented. Then all of a sudden, he dropped a bomb on us. A blonde bomb, that is. He announced he now has a girlfriend and is in love with her. From there, his Instagram became flooded with images of him and his lady. They did a little Instagram Q&A. We learned that there's an 8-year age gap between them. She's 28 and he's 36. She's an RN. And in their words, this is how they met.
So basically, we met on a dating app. And after we matched, I messaged him and said, if you're bored, text me. And I left him my number. And then like 5 seconds later, he texted me saying I'm bored.
Okay. So it sounds like his Bumble ad was successful. They both have similar goals in terms of wanting to be married and have kids. He closes this post by saying she may see a diamond in her near future. She said she didn't recognize him from Married at First Sight because she doesn't watch the show, and he didn't bring it up until after they went on a couple of dates. So she's decided not to watch the show because she doesn't want to see her person with anyone else. But she has been shown some clips, but they have chosen to keep that part of his past out of their relationship. Well, that's too bad because Miss Virginia has something to say about this relationship. Want to hear it? Here it goes.
This week, my ex hard launched his new relationship, and I laughed, honestly. Everything he says is like the same things he used to say to me and about me. A few weeks prior to that, some girl kept commenting on all my stuff about him, like saying she was talking to him and he basically like was playing her and another girl. Like all of this. And he would swear up and down that he's never loved anyone as much as he loved me. It's going to take him so long to get over me. He wasn't one that was wanting it to end. I was the one giving up on the relationship. He was still willing to fight for it, and it was going to take him so long to get over it. Here's the funny part. That was about 6 months ago. To my ex, told you so. We all know I love being right, so.
So there you have it. One thing you can always count on is Virginia sharing her opinion. Anyway, in a post recapping 2022, he said that he was busy training on 2 new airplanes, one for the Air Force and the other for the airline he works for. He said he's learned some things about himself, like what he wants and deserves. Plus, he met one special person that he gets to call his own. He closes it by saying, if you do some traveling, look for me on your next flight. So Eric took his girlfriend to Paris. Then this happened. That's right, he's engaged. Marriage after Married at First Sight is alive and well. So Eric has literally moved onward and upward since his Married at First Sight days. Congrats on finding love. Clara and Ryan. If you thought Clara and Ryan's relationship was complicated on the show, it seemed to be even more complicated after Decision Day. First of all, they admitted to lying about sex. They claimed they were having sex throughout most of the experiment. I did create a video that gives a lot of details about this story and a few other lies from this season. Be sure to check it out after you watch this one, of course, to the bitter end. Ryan also came out with a huge statement basically accusing Clara of being racially tone deaf, saying that she didn't do her homework about African Americans and he shouldn't have to teach her. I created this video about that debacle, and it includes his 8-page monologue he wrote explaining his feelings about Clara and ethnicity. I've also created this video about Clara's use of TikTok to explain her emotions while going through divorce. Anyway, Clara. After licking her wound once the divorce was over, she and her gal pal Virginia decided that two were better than one when it comes to dating, so they created a dating profile together. Together meaning a package deal. Both of them. Looking for male best friends who want a double date.
We are making a joint Bumble account. We have a few requirements.
They have to be best friends.
They have to be good looking.
Have to live in Atlanta.
Have to be liberal.
Have to have good jobs.
Definitely good jobs. Have to have a good time. Like, be fun people.
Have to love our dogs and cats.
As you can hear them screaming in the background. Not a requirement, but we would love a Cancer.
And a Leo. And absolutely no Geminis.
No Geminis. So we will post our profile once we've created it and let you guys know how this journey goes. But
if you know of anyone eligible, feel free to send them this.
As promised, she shared some parts of their dating profile.
okay, Virginia and I have our first double date tomorrow. So I thought I'd show you guys our profile. It's a work in progress and I have changed it like a handful of times, but here you go. All right, starting off strong. I love this picture of us, even though I look absolutely nothing like that anymore. Bio with like who is who, our age, our heights, our schools, and our jobs, what we're looking for. And then we're looking for double dates, not threesomes, because people were being really weird. Bonus points if you're a Cancer Leo duo, must be liberal, down to have a good time. And then here's just like basic information that like goes with both of us. More cute pictures. I'm hoping you have a best friend who is also looking to date best friends. I love this picture. Virginia hates it, so we may have to change it, but I think it's cute. Love this picture too. We're just cuties, right? We'll get along if you're best.
This profile resulted in just the one double date, but apparently there weren't any sparks for either of the ladies. In the end, they didn't put much energy into this profile because Clara ended up meeting someone and is now in a long distance relationship. Her man lives in Canada. She doesn't post pictures of him on her social media. I believe this might be the only glimpse of him she shared so far. In order to keep things fresh, they have virtual date nights. She talks about it in a TikTok. Here's a little snippet of it.
Number one is we like to find the same recipe and cook it over FaceTime, so it's like we're cooking together, eating the same thing. The second thing is we like to pick like a genre of food, like a type of cuisine, and we say, okay, we're doing Mexican tonight, and we both order Mexican. The third thing that we like to do food-wise is we will order each other like random mystery food. We'll say, okay, don't order me Chinese tonight, or don't order me pizza, but otherwise it's whatever, and we order for each other and then eat what the other one says.
Wow, I love seeing her happy. After being a flight attendant at Delta for 7.5 years, she decided to make a career change. She quit her job and now works in sales for a company that provides commercial property valuation. She's a liaison between client managers and new clients. She was super excited to leave the airline industry behind and move on to a position that allows her to work a consistent schedule with weekends off. Clara seems to have found her voice on TikTok. She creates videos regularly, and as it turns out, she's a great storyteller. She has shared many stories, some are funny, some not so funny, about her life and experiences on her page. So after a painful divorce and recovery period, Clara has come out of the other side possibly happier than she was before she started her Married at First Sight journey. As for Ryan, his love for working out is on 10. He's now a coach for CrossFit. He's pretty active on his gym's page, appearing in multiple videos.
Coach Ryan here, back with week 2 of the CrossFit Open, and we've got a great 2-part workout for you this week. 23.2A.
Okay, for sure, Ryan, for sure. In this picture, he's showing us that he wasn't the 3rd wheel, but the 9th wheel on New Year's Eve. Aw, no New Year's kiss for Ryan. He appears to be single at the moment, but that doesn't mean he's not out there dating. And last but not least, Paige and Chris. They are easily one of the most memorable and controversial couples of the entire US franchise. Chris treated Paige like she was a dirty diaper, like she stank, was hard to look at, and disposable. During their honeymoon, he was told that his ex-girlfriend was pregnant, and from there teetered back and forth between Paige and his ex, mostly leaning towards his ex. Many of us found ourselves yelling at the TV screen at Paige to move on and let Chris go. But she believed God put Chris in her life for a reason. Girl, God didn't put that man in your life. Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal did. After a long and emotional decision day, Paige finally chose herself and said no to staying married. After the season ended, Paige pretty much stayed out of the spotlight in social media, only dipping her toe in here and there. But as time passed, she emerged more slim and confident than ever. In her interview with Essence magazine, Paige explained that she went to therapy. She said, "I have my weekly therapy sessions. I think that those should be ongoing just to identify who Paige is and stay true to that." She says, "I also want to invest in a life coach to help me stay firm on the direction of where my life is heading." When it comes to talking about Chris, she said, "I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be, but the reason I don't want to speak on him is because there's just nothing to speak about at this point." She adds, "He is a grown man and he can deal with his own actions accordingly, and I'll handle mine as well. I don't really have anything to say. Did I see it? Yes. Do I have a comment about it? No." She's referring to the many posts he's put on his Instagram about her. Anyway, Paige is writing a book called Turning the Page. In her book, she's going to share journal entries she created during her time on the show. It will also put the spotlight on some of her life experiences that happened before being picked for Married at First Sight. Now, her book was supposed to be released late 2022. As of the date of this video, it doesn't appear to be out yet. Given that she's writing a book about her experience on Married at First Sight, I suspect it's another reason why she doesn't want to talk about Chris. Gotta buy the book to hear what she has to say. In the meantime, Paige has been exuding self-esteem, as you can see in these photos. She's given us regal, confident, Wakanda Forever vibes. She's really been embracing her beauty and has participated in multiple photo shoots. On July 13th, 2022, she had a great time celebrating her birthday with her friends who gave her gifts and took her to dinner, then clubbing. In December 2022, she shared this video to announce that she purchased her second house. She had it built from the ground up, which took 7 months. Oh my God, I love her ambition and drive. Paige is taking her life at a different pace these days. In this post, she talks about not comparing herself to others and no longer feeling like she has to measure up to societal standards. Sounds like she's come a long way from the mindset of being married at first sight. She appears to be in a healthier and happier space than she was then, and I'm glad to see her make it through that storm healthy and smiling. Moving on to Chris. It may come as no surprise that Chris received a great deal of hate for the way he treated Paige during his short stint on the show. He only filmed about 3 weeks out of the 8. After the season ended, he felt the need to respond to the hate with fire. He ranted on Instagram Lives and Instagram posts. Plus, he pretty much went after all of the women on the show, in addition to Jacob and Pastor Dwight. He accused Paige of not caring that he went back with his ex because she only wanted him to continue to tape with him for the money. He's alleged that Eric got pulled over for drunk driving because of Virginia, and so on. I've covered a lot of this on my channel. Check out those videos when you get a chance. I've also covered how he lost his Subway franchise. If you recall, he was one of the youngest Subway owners in Atlanta. He and Mercedes, his ex that was pregnant and met with him and Paige on the show, they appeared to be on again and off again for quite some time after the season ended. And if you were wondering if he really bought her a new Mercedes, he appears to have helped her get it. However, I don't get the impression he paid for it. In her post about the car, she thanks her friends, family, and God. Then at the very end, she gives a shout out to Chris for, as she puts it, the part he played. I'm thinking if he bought it, she'd lead with thanking him rather than a simple shout out at the end for playing a little part. After one of their arguments, he hopped on his Instagram and accused her of lying about being pregnant. She defended herself and offered test results as proof. Chris eventually apologized shortly after. At some point, he signed up for therapy, then taped a so-called tell-all interview with his therapist and released it on his YouTube channel. He clarified some of the incidents that took place on the show, but it was far from a tell-all. Only hours after his video premiered on his channel, he took it down for good. However, I got you because I did an in-depth recap in this video. Chris talked about the show for a long time after the season ended. In some cases, he defended his actions, and others he admitted he could have done better. Finally, he issued apologies to Paige, Pastor Dwight, the experts, and Mercedes. He appears to have turned the corner from blaming others to taking responsibility for his actions. During this YouTube interview, he claims that while he was going through therapy, that he had nervous breakdowns and thoughts of suicide. He also learned a lot about reality TV shows. He said that there were scenes where he was having a conversation with someone and they would edit that conversation into a different scene with a different person. Other cast members have complained about the editing on the show, so I believe his claims. After the season ended, he claims he received offers from large networks to have his own show, but he turned them down because they wanted the Chris who was on Married at First Sight. But he didn't want to be a villain. That's not who he is, so he says. Now, based on pieces of old contracts I've seen, they sign away their right to accept television opportunities without permission from the show because they want to dissuade folks from signing up with the hopes of getting their own spin-off show or whatever. In other words, he had to say no. Chris seems to enjoy traveling. Some of the places he's traveled to are Miami, Chicago, Paris, and Dubai. Chris is a work in progress and appears to be doing the work to know better, because when you know better, you do better. This was a very interesting cast of characters. I believe each of them have put some work into being better, including Chris. I hope they all find the happiness that they're looking for. I enjoyed putting together this video and seeing growth in each person, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next video.